Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow your eyelids to close and position your body in a way to make you more comfortable. As you breathe in, imagine that you're breathing in a resourceful feeling of relaxation. And imagine that as you exhale, tension, stress, anxiety, or worries are just leaving your body in your outward breath. I want you to imagine the concept of a blood transfusion. That by the nature of a transfusion, things that are not healthy are leaving your body, and things that are healthy are going into your body. So as you breathe in and breathe out, accept the suggestion that powerful positive resources are going in, and that you're giving permission to exhale anything that is no longer necessary in your body right now. And as you exhale, allow that outward breath to be deeper than it normally would be. As you allow anything to leave your body that is not necessary. Feeling your eyelids getting heavier and heavier. Feeling any tension around your neck and your shoulders just melting away. I want you to create an image in your mind of Stonehenge. But not modern Stonehenge. I want you to hold the image of Stonehenge from thousands of years ago. I want you to imagine you're there at the point when Stonehenge was being built. The original Druids somehow getting these enormously heavy stones to this place that would remain there for thousands of years. And I want you to imagine you're there seeing this ancient tribe putting together this circle of stones, tapping into a feeling of wonder. And I want you to notice that if this ancient tribe of Druids were able to understand the stars, to figure out complex maths, and to move enormously heavy stones to this location, then it's also possible for you to do more than you think you can do. So tap into that feeling of wonder, but also resourcefulness. And I want you to imagine touching one of the stones, feeling that you're accessing that sense of wisdom and wonder as you feel it going into your body. And then I want you to imagine that the stones themselves are almost like a portal. And I want you to imagine walking through the gap between two large stones and the stone above. And magically, you appear outside a castle in the city of Nottingham. I want you to see this castle. And outside this castle, I want you to see a brass statue of Robin Hood, the hero that used to steal from the rich and give to the poor. And I want you to imagine that this brass statue gives you the ability to experience the feeling of courage and bravery at defying powerful people with influence. I want you to imagine stepping into the Robin Hood statue and teleporting back in time for you to feel what it would be like to be a hero unafraid of powerful people. Locate where in your body you feel that courage, that bravery, and feel how good it feels to be willing to utilize that bravery and that courage. Expand that feeling. Tap into that feeling of incredible courage. And I want you to imagine somewhere in the woods, perhaps in Sherwood Forest, is a stream. And I want you to follow that stream. But the trees change from English trees to somehow different, almost tropical trees. And I want you to follow these tropical trees until you see brightly colored butterflies, parrots, incredible birds, colorful birds. And notice a feeling of adventure that you get. And I want you to imagine that there is a butterfly nearby, brightly colored, that is flying towards you. And the butterfly is there to give you a gift, a resource, a feeling, a belief, or an idea that you need right now. And feel how magical it feels for the butterfly to just be placed there on your arm, your shoulder, your hand. And to feel that whatever resource, belief, idea, or feeling you need right now is going from the butterfly into you. In the same way that one candle lighting another candle doesn't lose any of the light from the original candle, I want you to imagine the colors are moving from the butterfly into you, but still being retained into the butterfly. These colors representing this resource that you need most right now. Feel it absorbing inwards and feel how good it feels to now possess this resource. As you continue to wander through the forest until you see a deer. This deer does not belong in a tropical forest, which means you are now in a different forest, a forest in Scotland. And I want you to see that deer feeding. And I want you to imagine that you are now with someone from your past that you have a special bond with. And I want you to imagine that by seeing this deer feeding in this magical setting, you are reconnecting a bond that perhaps through time has eroded or perhaps been lost. But because both of you here in this location are sharing this magical experience, feel that you're tapping into that wonderful feeling of connection, you with someone else. And maybe this person is alive and maybe they're not. It doesn't matter. It's the feeling you get by connecting with someone important. Because when that connection is there, it brings out a quality that is valuable in you. I want you to imagine that a shared experience reminds you of a time when you shared an experience with an animal. Perhaps you can imagine being in a zoo and seeing an animal such as a monkey, maybe a chimpanzee, there in the zoo, and you shared that moment. You saw the monkey saw you. And you appreciated that there are universal qualities shared across all animals. Love, compassion, and a desire for survival. And I want you to imagine observing that chimpanzee and appreciating just how playful they are, that they can have fun, swinging around on ropes, being cheeky with each other. And as you observe the monkey, it unlocks in you a feeling of playfulness, a cheerfulness, a reconnection with your inner child that likes to have fun. I want you to imagine waving to that chimpanzee just as a small child would, in that playful way. And as you say goodbye to that chimpanzee, keep that spirit of playfulness within you. As you then find yourself back there with someone that you had a powerful connection with. As you observe the deer still feeding, and in the same way that the deer is nurturing and nourishing themselves with food, you are nourishing your soul through the connections that you keep. As you walk away from that deer, find yourself back in that tropical forest, recognizing that same butterfly that you absorbed that resourceful feeling from is still there, and look at the freedom in which it flies. That gracefulness, delicate and powerful. And then imagine then you're back in Sherwood Forest, feeling heroic, feeling courageous, feeling that with this quality, you're not afraid of anything. Because when you tap into doing what's right, fear is not necessary. Honing in that feeling of courage, that feeling of bravery, that desirable feeling, as it occurs to you that you are now in a statue outside of a castle, and then leave that statue, seeing that bronze statue of Robin Hood outside of a castle, and then realizing that you got here through a portal, through giant stones in the countryside, and imagine walking back through that portal, feeling that you're there in Stonehenge, tapping into wonderful feelings of wisdom, wonderful feelings of wonder, and feeling that there is powerful, unknown qualities within you. And Stonehenge was just a thought, an idea that popped into your mind as you accept that all of this are just thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, dreams within dreams. As you find yourself returning to the present, taking all resources and parts with you, listening to my voice firmly in the present, as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, get a sense that you're physically in your body right now listening to my voice. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken with all of these thoughts, ideas, resources, and feelings awakening with you, useful whenever required. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.